What's going on, guys? Noah Jive from the Geek Week here. Recently I was doing some searching on the channel and I saw that JoJo dropped his top 5 favorite anime characters of all time list. Ironically enough, JoJo didn't put any JoJo's characters on JoJo's top 5 favorite anime characters of all time list, which is ironic to say the least. Might have to change that. But other than that, I thought most of his list was acceptable, I suppose, except for it was shit. And you know what's not shit? My top 5 anime characters list. So why don't I give it a go? Okay, on my list, it should come as no surprise. There's going to be a bunch of honorable mentions, a bunch of side shit that really doesn't pertain to the list at all, and a lot of extra shouts because I can't let things go and I have abandonment issues. So let's begin. First honorable mention before I even get to my list is going to be Gohan. God, let me take you back to 1999, 2000, when Dragon Ball, well, actually, no, Dragon Ball Z was actually already done by then, but when we were getting introduced to Dragon Ball Z, and we thought that Dragon Ball Z was about Gohan, because it was. I don't want to get too much into this because it's taking too much time. I've talked about it on the podcast a bunch, but the original story for Dragon Ball Z was supposed to be about Gohan, and the characters that really, the only characters that get development in Dragon Ball Z are characters that weren't in Dragon Ball, because all of the character development pretty much done in Dragon Ball, honestly, to me, is the better of the two, but y'all not ready for that conversation. But post Cell Saga, Goku was supposed to stay dead, and Akira Toriyama, I guess, had some conflicting issues with doing that, which, I mean, it's tough to say whether or not you keep Goku dead or not, but you really destroy Gohan's character. I mean, the next saga, you have this man dancing around in tights, talking about he's the great Saiyaman, and from there it was just, no. And don't get me wrong, he had a few good moments since, or post Cell Saga, but they're just too few and far between, honestly. So that's really just, gosh, I mean, the greatest character that could have been, really, Gohan. I think after I've originally the Cell Saga thing, as soon as the Majin Buu Saga started, and I was first introduced to the whole Videl, Gohan, Saiyaman thing, Kid Goku from the original Dragon Ball became my favorite Dragon Ball Z franchise character again, and it was just like, I can't switch. Gohan lost me, but he did the movie. Maybe he's coming back. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Okay, moving into number 1. Should come as no surprise to anybody. One of my favorites of all time. Actually, it's right here. Inuyasha, of course, of course. I mean, I could have thrown, I guess because this is a characters, not a manga or anime list, I could have thrown Shishomaru in there because I do favor him as a character almost as much as Inuyasha, but how could I not go Inuyasha? It's one of my favorite, God, I'm just a sucker for a love story, really. I've talked about it on the podcast a lot. I don't know if you ever want to get me, it does that because, I mean, we're talking quality. It wasn't the best anime of all time. I was a kid when I watched it, so for me it was a lot better as a kid, but it doesn't really have great replay value. You're going to get a fucking wind tunnel and a bunch of mystic bees every episode. But the manga is great, and I don't know, just something about the allure. And I was talking to actually, of all people, JoJo, about this the other day. I don't think there's many authors because Inuyasha is easily one of my favorite mangas of all time. But Rumiko's other manga, Ranma One Half, is easily I've never read it. I've read like one or two, but one of my least favorite animes of all time. Like, I just can't stand it. Like, it was, oh God. So I've never really had that happen where I like one work from an author so much. Or actually, well, maybe, no, that's probably the only one. You would think you'd like it. But yes, Inuyasha coming in hot at number 1. Number 2 now. Okay, so I don't know if this counts as, and this is in no particular order, of course. I could never order any things. Not only do I have abandonment issues, PTSD, I could never do that. It would take me years to rank these. But number 2 is a tough one because both these characters are on the same exact level to me. And I actually had a prop that I was going to bring in for this video, but I didn't get a chance to make it to my parents' house because I did an art entry for our Sweet Home Middle School art book in 7th grade. And you know what I did for my 2 entries? Number 1, I did Byakuya Kuchiki from Bleach, and number 2, I did Kenpachi Zaraki from Bleach, because I love both of those characters, and they're both fucking awesome. Could I pick between the two? If you're gonna make me, let's go Byakuya, just because Byakuya. How many times have I said Zenbun Zakura Kageyoshi on the podcast? But, I mean, I could have just as easily gone for Kenpachi Zaraki. Kenny, that's my guy. So, man, yeah, and God, Bleach being back has just been fantastic. Wow, wish it would have dropped maybe a little bit sooner, but I really got to just take it for what it is. It's beautiful. I'm glad. It's almost like if Star Wars, the wait we had from the original trilogy to the new trilogy of Star Wars was worth it. But I digress. Moving on. Now, to make up for JoJo's past transgressions and mistakes, how do you not have a JoJo's character, number 1? Number 2, how is that said character not Jotaro Kujo? For number 3, you gotta be Jotaro Kujo. Good grief. I mean, the Stardust Crusader himself. If I wasn't going to get flagged for copyright on this video, I'd probably just insert that intro theme right there, because fuck. Stardust Platinum. Zuardo! I mean, what are we doing here? Enough said. I mean, that one kind of speaks for itself. One of the most popular anime characters, I think, of recent time. Moving on from that, this should come as no surprise as well to anybody. Beppo from One Piece, Beppo of the Heart Pirates. Now, One Piece is another sucker punch because, I mean, honestly, I could pick a plethora of characters from One Piece that I do love. Doflamingo stands out. Crocodile to me was one. Zoro's my favorite Straw Hat. I mean, just within the Heart Pirates, Trafalgar Law is a beast. I mean, there's so many. But I love Beppo. I really love Beppo as like a thing that transcends my love for One Piece and other animes. I've really just loved that. I think Beppo's my Facebook header still, or possibly my Twitter header, maybe? It was at one point. Really love Beppo. It's a really great character. And moving to another honorable mention before I get into my last. This one's just a shout, man. I had to throw this in there. I mean, if you see, if you follow any of our content, you'll probably see a lot of this guy posted everywhere because I loved this manga and this show too. And that is Jelly fucking Jiggler from Bobobo. I can't rank him because it just wouldn't be, I mean, that anime doesn't hold up to some others. And his character, I mean, come on, I mean, barely has any character work. It's just utter nonsensical satire, but I love it. Bobobo was one of those shows when I was a kid that really, at a time when, because I mean, I got into it so young, so at a time when it really, my only interest was geared towards a certain genre, like a certain type. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was mecha in there too, but mostly just fighting shit, like shit with action and stuff like that. Not because I was against others, but because I didn't really know there was other genres of anime at that time. I remember really when I started watching anime like 2000, 2001, that was like cartoons for me at that point, but you only had so many to choose from. But I digress, I'm getting on a tangent, but yeah, man, I loved Bobobo. It really opened me up to what an anime can be and not necessarily what it has to be. But for my last actual pick, I mean, how could I not? The original Monkey Man himself, Lupin Arsene III. How do you not pick Lupin III, man? I mean, Lupin is easily, out of this list, I'm not positive any JoJo's, there might be an iteration. Well, One Piece for sure. But other than One Piece, I'm not sure any of these other characters, animes, would make it on my top 5 anime list. But their character I love, but I don't think their animes would make it up. One Piece, most certainly. But Lupin the Third most certainly is one of my favorite animes of all time. I mean, all time. I mean, I love Lupin the Third. I mean, and thank God that they redubbed it in 2002, or I might not be talking about it, because Lupin's originally from like the 70s when the part 1 and part 2 that got redubbed first when I watched on Toonami and shit came out. Thank God for that. I mean, and honestly, if you're not familiar with the dub for Lupin the Third, it's a Funimation dub, classic voices, but I mean, it's probably one of the better, like I put it on the same level as I put Dragon Ball Z for Funimation dubs, is where I prefer the dub. It's classic. I mean, it's fantastic. But yes, Lupin the Third, you could have went Goemon, Jigen. I mean, all 4, Fujiko, all 4 main characters in that show are fantastic. I mean, come on. But yeah, that does it for me. I'm sure we still got to get Drew in here. And guys, we do have some big news coming up for the channel, so stay tuned. I don't want to spoil too much. We have a lot to look forward to, possibly some new faces. And we'll catch you on the next video. I'm hoping Drew will get his in next. We shall see.
What's up, guys? Like, comment, share, subscribe. Really helps out the channel, and we'll catch you in the next video. Peace.